Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine podcast review of Loki episode 4? Question mark? I am your host, Dupe. With me is my other co-host, the owners and proprietors of the Heroes World store in Markham, Ontario. That be John and Andre. Please say hello.
Howdy,
Hello.
folks.
And of course, our resident prince of mischief, the Loki circa 199998, Rob Didnt.
What's up? What's going on?
So thank you for joining us today as we continue on our review. The first half of 10 minutes will be a non-spoiler review. We're going to give our thoughts on the episode. And then if you want to continue on the journey with us down the rabbit hole, we'll go with our full thoughts and spoiler review of the episode. So John, it is your time this week to tell us our favorite segment, an unhelpful but yet helpful review of this episode or summary of this episode without any positive or negative adjectives. So tell us what happened without giving anything away.
So we want to keep this spoiler free, basically, just an overall summary.
Do your
of what
best.
Happened in the episode. So the previous episode left the two Loki variants stranded on, I don't know what the name of the planet was, but somewhere.
Lamentus One.
So they're stranded there. No way home. We see what happens with that, and we get to actually peek behind the curtain, and they reveal a little bit more about what is making the TVA tick. And we see a bunch of other characters return. So Owen Wilson, Mobius's character, we see him come back. And I think that's all we can say without spoiling, because there's a lot of reveals in this trailer. So make sure you stay off the internet before you watch this one.
All right. So great. So thank you, John. And as we go, I'll ask you your thoughts on the episode, what you like, what you hated, the acting performance. What did you think about this episode? Episode 4. I think it was called what's the episode?
Event.
Yeah,
Nexus
event.
event.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going first, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So spoiler free. Overall, I did like the episode. I will put it higher than previous episode. And again, Tom Hiddleston is just killing and crushing every episode. I will shout out the other character, B-15. I don't know the actress that plays her, but I thought she gave a very good performance in this episode. Overall, like super negative things about this episode, nothing really. I feel like this episode kind of just, it sets things up where I guess is it considered the halfway point, or we're beyond the halfway point now?
Just beyond,
because we're 6 episodes, right? We're on 4.
Yep, 4.
Yeah.
So just beyond.
Yeah, so we're a little bit before. So I feel like they do have a lot that they're gonna have to cover in the next 2 episodes. So I don't know if this is a 2-season show or whatever, but overall,
it's been confirmed it's going to season 2.
Yeah. Okay. So that actually changed a lot of things. So I think they've got a lot of things they can still do. But overall, I thought it was an all right episode.
Okay. Rob, what are your thoughts?
Okay.
What do you like? What did you dislike?
Yeah. First of all, let me just say that this episode completely redeems itself from last episode. For those who may be questioning whether we're sane about that or not, check out our last review, because I think we all pretty much just despised episode 3.
It was okay.
Shut up.
I liked it. It was fine.
No,
fine.
This type, when you have 6 episodes of this quality, being just fine is not good enough. This 5th season of 24 was fine. It wasn't great. So we are in, I'm sorry, maybe season 6 where the nuke went off in Los Angeles, but I digress. This episode was a lot better. You know what? I'm gonna be very honest with you. I was very happy to see Owen Wilson return. I feel like, I know everybody keeps saying week after week after week, not just here in other reviews, man, Tom Hiddleston, listen, we can't expect him to be anything else but superior in this show, because it is his character he's been playing for the past 10 years. We have to give shout outs to the other actors and actresses that are in this show. I gotta tell you that when I see Owen Wilson show up on screen, I get giddy. I'm like super excited. I don't know what the future holds for him in the MCU. I'm very hopeful that he will remain around in some capacity, because he is just mesmerizing to watch on screen. As John said, this episode is interesting. I mean, it's another episode where you've got now the two, Loki and Sylvie, kind of working together to determine what exactly they're up against, and what is the time variant. And this is the puzzle that is slowly kind of unraveling. And as much as we get answers, more questions are raised. They did play off a lot the end of last episode of all the TVA agents are variants. That came into play in this episode. And we'll get into it in the spoiler section, but for those who have not seen it, there is a mid-credit scene that you do not want to miss, because I think that it propels you with excitement to see what this next episode 5 will be like next Wednesday.
And we're not like those other people on YouTube that blatantly just put that picture on YouTube. So if you don't know already, just stay away from the internet, because it is rough out there. People just jamming that on the front page. It's like, wow, you're really doing this. Okay. Andre, what did you like? What did you dislike? Acting performances. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely better than the previous episode, but not by much. They don't have enough runway to stick anything. The show has no point at this point. They're not revealing it. They're not revealing enough, and this one I think raised more questions that it answered. And at this point, we've said it repeatedly. The performance of Tom Hiddleston, is carrying the show. I think if you didn't have a charismatic actor doing this, I don't think any of us would have continued to the 4th episode. And I think, frankly, for me, if it wasn't 6 episodes, if it was longer than 6 and this was the 4th one, I would be out. So I hope it redeems itself and stuff, but I really feel that the 3rd episode really did it a disservice leading into this 4th episode, which it was all done before. Like, there was nothing imaginative in this. If you've seen or read anything that is very similar in the genre, kind of corny reveals and stuff. We'll get more into the spoilers. But yeah, I just really think that whoever cut the trailer for this show did a really, really good job. And I was really excited for it. And that excitement I haven't been excited since basically the 1st and 2nd episode. So
Understood. John, so I'll ask you, as I'll ask you every week, a rating out of 10. Where are we at right now? What are you giving it?
I'll give this I forgot what I gave the last. I feel like the last episode I gave like a 6 or 7. So I feel like this is pretty much, other than the reveals, I guess, that may be key to the overall, structure or the plotting of the show or whatever. I'd probably have to give this also like a 7 out of 10. I wasn't like the first episode I watched twice, and I rewatched the first episode like right after. These last 2 episodes I've watched once, and that's pretty much it.
Rob?
Yeah, I think my last episode review was a 5.5, or a 5. I'm going to go up to about a 7.5 on this one. I liked it a lot more. And yeah, we'll explain more later.
Andre?
Andre was a 0 out of 10, and they got a 1 for I don't know what for
yeah,
random.
it was 1 for the performance. So I'd probably say this one might bring it up to about a 4 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, all right. And my last question before we close it out, in regards to the show so far, we've seen many Marvel shows right now. Is this a vector that you could watch with a normal person, a non-superhero, non-comic book person? John, now that you've seen 4 episodes, could you watch it with your wife? Could you watch it with someone who doesn't know, or are you still? Still too deep?
But I feel like it's a little too out there. Very, very like even the first opening episode was very comic booky. So even like ratings aside, the first episode, I think this is maybe too much, unless someone is really into quantum leapish type stuff. But I would definitely choose like Falcon and Winter Soldier as the kind of go-to. This is Marvel, this is action, anyone can watch this. So yeah, not quite for this one.
Rob?
No. My wife doesn't like any of this type of stuff. Yeah, I think this is this fits very neatly into a genre of sci-fi time travel type shows. And if you cannot get behind the concept of that, then this show is not going to be for you. For the layman, the people won't enjoy it if you can't suspend disbelief enough. So this is really for those. If you have not seen any of Loki or any MCU, it might be a little bit tough to get into it. Because there's a lot of history there, but you'll pick it up if you like Doctor Who, if you like Travelers, if you like
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the second one, because nobody likes Bogus Journey.
What?
Whoa. Station, bro. Come on, slow down. We're gonna have a conversation about station.
No, nobody likes Station.
I love
Death?
Station.
Death? Come on.
He's my boy. Andre.
Yeah, I don't think this is TV for people who aren't into Marvel. Period.
Okay. All right, so we're closing it out. John and Andre, where can they find you guys on the interwebs and the desert of the real?
Yeah. So Heroes World Online takes you to pretty much our entire online presence. So Heroes World Online, all one word, that'll take you to our Instagram, which is one of probably the most active, which links to the Facebook, and then which also links to the website. So all that stuff, if you get in that ecosystem somewhere, you will get most of our, if not all of our updates. And Andre's been posting some great deals for our 20th anniversary on the Facebook. So if you're following us on the Facebook, definitely keep an eye on that. We'll try and get it routed to the other methods, but it's primarily there. And then if you're listening to this on the audio, Heroes World Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever your podcast platform is, definitely follow us there. So if you don't have time to watch these, you can definitely listen to it and give us your feedback on that. So thank you everyone for sharing and subscribing and all that kind of jazz.
Andre.
Yeah, and the store is back open for in-person shopping, and we are in Markham, Ontario, 8601 Warden Avenue. Come up and see us. We're there 5 days a week, and we're going to hook you up with whatever you need.
Rob, where can they find you on the interwebs?
The _905 all spelled out, and watch John and I tomorrow, Monday, live at 8:00 Eastern for the Heroes World Sidekick Show. John watches a sports movie, and we're going to see how well that plays out.
A hardcore sports movie, I would say.
Not even just sports and math.
Yeah, and not like, yeah, we're not talking about like we're not talking about Mighty Ducks. We're talking about like a hardcore inside baseball sports
analytics movie.
Not hardball. We're talking about not hardball. We're talking about Moneyball.
Which led to the Sloan Analytics Conference, which is something I want to visit one day in my life before it's too late. And that is a nerd. I am a
super sports nerd.
I am a super sports nerd when it comes to sports analytics. I love it. I love all the stats for basketball and baseball. I can talk about war and whip and everything all day and wins over replacements. Anyway,
so when you watch basketball and a player becomes open on the 3-point line, do you automatically in your head go, that player's 3-point percentage is this? That's the percentage.
If I had access to Synergy, which is the baller, I would be able to go through the shooting charts and see the percentages in the red zones of how far they shoot, the percentages of what, and if they were able to shoot with a player in front of him and a hand in front and without a front. But that's a whole different sports podcast that we can do. But yeah, Synergy Sports. Anyways, we're going to jump to our full spoiler review of Loki in a separate universe. Rob cares about sports. This is not it. So welcome, everyone, if you're still around. We're going to go into our full spoiler of Loki episode 4. So a la Wayne's World, you've been warned. Everyone's been told what's going on. So we're going full spoilers. And I'm going to bug John and Rob tomorrow about my weird sports analytic takes tomorrow. I'll be like, do you guys know this baseball term? It'll be great. All right, John, tell us your spoiler thoughts. Start us off. What did you like? What you didn't like? Do you have any your questions?
It's hard to say. I was trying to come up with a gimmick for this episode. And this episode, other than a bunch of
how about this? So we're going to start with this. Start again. Give us your summary of the episode, full spoilers. Tell us how much you can remember right now.
Oh man, that's what I was worried about. I was like, this episode just kind of like just goes. So what happens is they're trapped on Lament, and obviously they're saved because Lamented, whatever the hell this thing is.
They're Lament about Lamentus.
They are on a green screen, empty lot with they get superimposed a bunch of purple stuff, and they're stuck there. And obviously they're going to get saved. And I feel like almost everybody knew that the TVA was going to jump in and pull them into doors. There wasn't really any, unless you thought maybe he had a working time pad, but they filmed all that other stuff before. It didn't really make sense. And then for some reason they're getting together, or their connection causes this giant spike, which I don't know if they've ever said it factors in that these characters exist and they get pulled from the pruned timeline. Like it all gets very muddy at that point.
It's two of the same person falling in love with each other, which is probably why the thing.
No, but I don't understand why the branch shows up, and then if the world's going to end, then do you start factoring that these characters don't die during the Armageddon, and that causes the new branch. But then, like, whatever.
That's unanswered questions, Sean. And tell us about the episode. You're creating your own timeline that makes no sense.
They get saved
right now.
They get saved. They go back to the TVA. We get Owen Wilson back, which thank God. He's definitely one of the X factors of this show that you need to have him on screen. And then a whole bunch of reveals happen. You get to see the time. Are they the timekeepers? In a very Stu referenced it, a very Bill and Ted like three guys in a throne room type thing.
Hovering.
And then I don't know if we want to talk, like, a whole bunch of characters get pruned.
John, this is the spoiler. Talk. Tell us your review.
A whole bunch of characters get pruned.
Tell us who.
Oh yeah, I'm not
You're the worst.
Offer opinion, but yeah. So we see Owen Wilson's character get pruned. We see ultimately Loki's character get pruned. We do have B-15 turning to the Loki side, and then at the end we get a reveal, end credit, post credit, whatever you want to call it, scene revealing a whole bunch of Lokis. So Loki didn't get pruned, or the pruning sends him to, like the negative zone. Who knows, like, what's going on here? So I found it very hard. Yeah, but after watching the episode, I kind of found it. I was like, what exactly happened? Other than they dropped a couple bombs. Who's the director from TVA? Something with an R.
Well, I want to call her Ramsey, but I've been watching too much Fast and the Furious.
Renslayer.
There you
John,
go.
you've forgotten the biggest reveal of this entire thing. Your review is missing lots of things. The gap is huge. What's the biggest thing you missed?
What is it? What is important? Everybody's a variant.
How about the fact that they were in the TVA? They met the Loki escapes.
And
then you discover the timekeepers are
they're robots. But I feel like that was obvious.
They were in disguise, though.
Disguise of what? In robot suits?
It was the Chuck E. Cheese moment. That was Pasquale dancing and singing a song about I was just ready for the kids to be eating pizza on the side of the screen. So yeah, that was a big reveal, John, and you just swooped it over. So thank you.
It didn't feel like a big reveal though. I don't know. Like I felt like the death the two big reveals, the two big things were the death of Mobius. I was like, oh wow. But I assume that he is
the turning of Mobius, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I assume that he's not actually being pruned, that he's gonna show up again, or they developed 100%. Some type. I assume it's like a double plan or whatever, because B-15 is also missing, right? The girl.
She just got knocked out. They didn't say anything. They didn't say anything about her being pruned. I think she's just on the floor. They knocked her out and she fell onto the mist floor. It was like you're at Laser Quest, and then you remember this dust.
I think they just say she's missing, don't they?
B-15.
B-15, yeah.
No, they just knocked her out. And what? You're gonna listen to Renslayer? Renslayer's lying the entire time.
No. John's talking about B-15. Stu, you're talking. Wait. B-25 was the one that was captured.
B-20 was the one captured who died. B-15 was the one that released Loki. So which one are you talking about, John?
Yeah, B-15. I'm talking about B-15.
Okay.
I feel like they just disappeared. What was she? I feel like
all you guys are doing is feeding into the argument of why Andre disliked this movie.
Okay, anyways,
she opens the door, she unlocks their cuffs. She gets knocked out by other people. She falls to the ground, and then she disappears in the mist. And that's all. You don't see her. Like again, in movies, if you don't see them get shot or die, then they're not dead.
No. She lets Loki or Sylvie use her power.
She didn't disintegrate. So she didn't get pruned. She's just like Stu said. She's on the floor, unconscious, or possibly.
No, I think she just disappears. I don't think she's in there. They're like, where is she? And they're like, we have no clue. I think she's missing. I think she takes off. I'm pretty sure.
You are pretty sure on something that wasn't shown on a movie, John, or on the screen, so that is not.
No,
sure.
they mention it. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Who the liar that is Renslayer? You're trusting that person? Yeah, John.
Okay,
no,
whatever. No, well, she gets knocked out, and I think later on in dialogue, they're like, she's missing, she's gone.
Now I understand why people like
that was the end of the episode. The end of the episode, Loki gets pruned, and then we see the mid-credit scene after that.
Yeah.
Well,
anyways,
this
it's
is
good
why
that
people like NASCAR. Because
this is why that this show is a train wreck, and I can't believe you guys would give this over a passing grade. Like this show is convoluted and it's garbage. So poorly written.
We were asking John to recite the episode, so maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should have asked Rob to do it. So he missed coming at certain points. So I don't blame the storytelling. I blame the the person who's trying
Storyteller.
to retell the story. So yeah, this is like me trying. That's like John trying to retell the Snyder Cut, and Rob's losing his mind because John's forgetting all these things about the Snyder Cut, like the people singing in the water.
That's the only thing John remembers is the Norwegian, Icelandic singers.
Yeah, and then he's like, something else happened, something,
poor
yada yada yada.
inflection.
Superman comes back, the movie's over. And that's pretty much
Yada yada yada.
yada
Exactly.
yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Okay, John. What? All right. Well, yeah. We're gonna keep on rolling because you missed a lot of stuff. So, oh boy.
worry.
All right. Okay. Tell us what you liked and what you didn't like, because clearly.
I kind of almost already did. I did like the punishment scene where basically Loki goes into a Lucifer like Punisher cycle or whatever with the Civ character. I don't remember what happened. Did she die in the regular MCU? No, so she's still around.
They never explained it because she was too busy filming a TV show, so that she couldn't show up to be killed. So because she couldn't show up to be killed, she's just. They're like, well, she never died or was on screen, so she's alive somewhere. So
yeah. So I just wanted to say bonus points for her for showing up for an episode, putting on the full gear and costume to do this. But basically, she essentially came on for like kind of a gag.
Well, she did post on Twitter that Lady Sif be back, so she's like she's back.
Yeah.
So
it's
whether she's in Thor
or
or whatnot, Love and Thunder or whatnot, she's again. Yeah, pay them checks, man. Whatever it is, she's gonna be around.
Yeah. But other than that, just shout outs to that actress. I don't know, I don't remember what her name is, but I thought it was cool that she came back and suited up for that type of scene, a comedic scene. So we'll see. I think a lot of my other answers are actually going to refer back to the scene. So
I believe it's Jamie
I'll let
Alexander,
everyone go. Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
She was on that terrible movie or TV show where she was covered in tattoos for whatever purpose. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to continue on. Rob, what did you like? What did you not like in this episode? Give us.
I hated this episode. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, listen, as I said before, I actually quite enjoyed this episode. I got, I guess you could say spoiled. Wednesday morning, I log in quite early. And, I always throw on the Twitter to see what's happening in the world and the news. And somebody started posting about the correlation between episode 4 and Bill and Ted's. And they showed the picture of Bill and Ted's with the timekeepers hovering, who is Clarence Thomas, I believe, from the E Street Band, hovering on the wall. And I was like, man, so I quite enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing Lady Sif return. I enjoyed the punishment. That was hilarious. The red door, hey man, people like dick and fart jokes. People like nut shots in shows and comedy stuff. So I was all for it. My son and I were laughing. I like that there were some answers that were given. I also liked, I gotta say, so leading into this episode, I was very almost begrudgingly anticipating it because Stu had in my head that this is all going to be a Sylvie backstory episode. And I wanted
I bet you thought it was going to be when it opened up.
And then when it started and we're like, all of a sudden, Renslayer starts talking, having her memories, and you see a black-haired Sylvie, which I thought was very interesting as a child, probably about 9 or 10. And they're looking to prune her out of existence. I was like, well, that's quite interesting. I get that kids' hair colors can change a little bit, but to go from from like a dark black hair color to what she's rocking now, which is a blonde, you don't really see much of roots. It's not like she went and got it dyed at First Choice Hair Salon. So I'm not.
Wait, is she not an illusionist like?
Anyways,
Loki?
Yeah, potentially. But for me, listen, I've always said that this show always has nuggets of information that may or may not be something. So for me, I was like, I like the timekeeper. Here's the thing I did not like about the timekeepers. I couldn't understand what the hell they were saying. I almost had
I had to turn on the subtitles. Yeah,
I didn't do that. But it was one of the things I in my head, I was like, I have to go back and watch this scene because I really couldn't understand what the hell they were saying. The one guy looked like the one face from the Transformers movie with the mustache on the
guilty or innocent.
So
one guy looked like Wilford Brimley. Like
yes.
he's like,
yeah, I know. I was like,
he's
I
like,
kind of feel like oatmeal
okay.
right now.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I mean, I'm not when they took the magic elevator ride and the timekeepers were there, I was like, these aren't the time. Like in my head, I was like, there's no way the timekeepers are just hanging out in office, right? Like these are supposed to be celestial beings practically. What are they doing in a building?
What floor was that? You know, like was that the penthouse?
Right.
Like, what,
yeah,
like,
there's
like,
a special key to get in.
with the mist and floating platforms and voids in the bottom.
So I kind of suspected it wasn't really them. I thought more that they would be illusions. I didn't realize they're actually going to be robots. But I'm going to say the end, we knew Richard E. Grant was going to show up because they announced him in the cast many, many, many months ago. And you're getting into episode 4. I'm like, okay, maybe he's going to be playing one of the timekeepers. All in the back of my head, I think we had talked about this maybe even last episode. Wouldn't it be great if he played like old school Loki? And then to see him in that mid-credit scene, and he's in like the 1960s version costume with the underwear on the outside, the cape, the massive horn. There's something about seeing these characters in their true comic book form, ridiculous outfit, like in person, that it just makes my heart swell. I don't know what it is. I'm like, oh my God, that's me. Like now I want to see a flat ironed, straight haired Thor with the wing tips and like I want to see that, right? In the 1960s version with all the colors, because that would just make my heart swoon. So I love.
What about alligator Thor? Was that a famous alligator or is it just a regular?
Isn't that the opposite when Thor is a frog? Does that like Spider-Ham universe?
Yes. Well,
like, is that how it works?
Yeah, I would like to see that. So seeing all of that, I loved all that. There's something else I was going to mention now, and I can't remember what it is, but I get Andre's, when we talked to it earlier, I get his gripe about things. Oh, sorry. The last thing I want to say was that the director, I think it's Kate Herron.
Yep.
Yeah. So she tweeted out that final end scene when Loki stands and he looks up and he's got the 3 Lokis standing over him.
Plus the alligator. So he's got 4. The alligator's wing.
I don't even think I even saw the alligator, to be honest with you. That's why I didn't know what the hell you're talking about. That scene is juxtaposed to the end of Avengers 1, where he gets up and he looks and the Avengers are looking down on him. She actually just did a mirror reverse. I thought that was kind of new.
And the music is the same too. They did a little of the same music of the Avengers reveal. So
I'm very much excited for episode 4. We've said this time and time again, right from the beginning at WandaVision, is that we there's very little runway left, and can they stick the landing? I know Andres already stated early in this episode, no. I don't know. I just because I don't know where they're going, so I am not nervous, but I am now cautious. I'm like, okay, it's buckle up time. We're approaching descent here. What's happening? So we'll see where
if
this
you don't
goes.
know where they're going, they obviously can't stick the landing.
Well,
right?
but the caveat being though,
going, how do you know where it's going to go?
But caveat though is that we've always said time travel shows, we don't know. We're not supposed to know what the end is. This is all smoke and mirrors. We don't know what the end is supposed to be.
I'm treating Loki like Fast 9. It's just a fun ride. Fast 9 has no story. It's not.
We haven't seen
it's
it.
not supposed to be Macbeth. Fast 9 is just there's Han there. There's a cool set piece. Like I feel like it's going to be just like a Fast and Furious movie, and I'm fine with that. Like I'm not here to watch a show. This is not supposed to be, a show where it's supposed to be like The Wire, where it's interconnected and it's like deep meaning. This is just a fun show you watch in the background and you just turn off your brain and enjoy. Now I've just accepted these are the Marvel shows that we get, and that's it. And I'm not going to put it on a pedestal to say it's the best show on TV or it's this or that. It's the most watched show on the world right now. People are just digging it, but it's the same level as Fast 9. Like there's no way Vin Diesel can do any of that stuff. Vin Diesel pretty much is Superman all the time, and it makes no sense.
Oh, Vampires and Titans.
Yes. So I was going to mention that too, that it was fun when Owen Wilson mentioned, hey, we brought in Kree, Titans, and vampires, and none of them have been this much trouble as 2 demigods. So that was a fun Blade thing. But to your point of Richard E. Grant, the great intelligence, there's something about the way that he delivered the line, which we didn't see him, but just the way that he looked rocking that ridiculous costume, that he's like, I own this. This is who I am. There's something about like that whole thing that like if you own this costume or you have a bad haircut or whatever, bad shirt, if you just go into it, and the look that he was giving us and the thing is like, yeah, this is me. I'm proud of this. I'm awesome. And I'm like, I have a
How
good
did
feeling
they
about him.
Explain it. Is he like from a play or something? The costume looks ridiculous when you look at the
It
still.
it's just as bad as
hilarious.
when Chris Pratt was wearing the original Captain America costume from
Chris
Captain
Evans?
America 1. Yeah, when he was wearing the
Chris
felt
Evans?
one, the original one, and you're like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
boy, Chris.
No, but
Chris
that
Evans.
served a purpose. He was putting on a show for like. But what is this Loki? Like, did he just step out? Like, it's gonna be.
No, he's a
it's-
variant. Obviously, it's a
Yeah,
variant. They're all variants. So
No, but where would he walk around with that costume? Anyways, unless he's like at the Marvel Studios theme park wearing. the Loki.
It's amazing.
he's a
costume.
theme park guy.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard to explain unless they just don't explain it, which is
No,
fine,
they'll do a quick little thing. Like even the Sylvie thing, as Rob mentioned, they did a quick, like she's on Asgard, and like here's a thing, and she was playing with toys, and then she got taken away. She took that.
Yeah, but she's wearing a normal costume.
She
Guy's
took the
wearing, like,
device
I'm looking
away.
I'm
She took
looking at
the
the
device
still
away.
right
Shut up,
now.
John. Shut up. She took the device that you forgot. She took up the device away from Renslayer and been traveling the world with it, which is, I guess, what Andre said before. Is like, what's the battery? I'm like, well, she's had it for decades or hundreds of years, so maybe that's why it ran out of batteries. But nonetheless, didn't know how to charge it. But she's been running around since a kid, and that's why she has no memories of anything else. So that's why she didn't mention Thor or the other things before. But yeah, it was quite interesting to see that. All right, Andre, getting ready. What are your thoughts?
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, let's hear this.
All right, so I'll tell you what I liked. I liked the Owen Wilson line when he said, "Narcissist falls in love with himself," and if Sylvie is a version of him, then I think that's good.
Mhm.
Other than that, I got up on Wednesday morning to watch this episode to see if they could redeem and pull themselves back up from the travesty that was episode 3. And I've always said it. My disappointment with these shows comes from 40 years of reading comics, and I know the potential for good storytelling is there. This is not good storytelling. It's not compelling storytelling. I'm going to disagree with you, Stu, and say you just turn your brain off and you go with it, because that's not what we do as comic book readers, and comic book fans. And yes, Fast and Furious is ridiculous, but it's never.
But this isn't a comic book, Andre.
Thank you for telling me that, Stu.
No,
I'm happy. I'm happy you point that out. However, it's based on material from a comic book, and this story could be great. It could be amazing. It could be all these things, except they keep layering on things like prune him. So you have this term that means prune, means to trim. It means to get rid of. It means to think. So pruning, you can tell me that pruning, all it means is zapping that person into another dimension or somewhere else.
Another world, yeah.
You're telling me that these people, these Lokis that are amazing combatants or whatever, in one episode, 2 episodes before, they could beat all these TVA agents. Then the next episode, they can't beat guys on a train. Then they get back here and they can't beat people. You're telling me that Owen Wilson had to have started as a TVA guard because they got to rise up the ranks. And as a detective, he couldn't even put up a fight. He walks out, doesn't do anything. He knows they're there to arrest him. And then he has a stupid soliloquy. You're telling me that they're going to waste 5 minutes of Loki getting punched in the dick because it's funny, instead of him just saying, you are a variant. Everything they've told you is a lie. Do that. Push the story forward. Let's get somewhere. At the end of this episode, where the fuck are we that's different than any of the other episodes? With the exception of knowing that for some reason they took this girl as a kid and they don't even say why she was an obstruction to the timeline. Again, give me that nugget, right? Give me something.
I think they purposely, because the girl's like, I don't remember, so I don't know if they're
Because
hiding
she's
it.
lying.
But that's a
obviously,
true supervillain thing, right? Because Thanos, when Wanda was like, "You took everything," and he's like, "I don't even know who you are." And same with the Kree in Guardians of the Galaxy, when Drax like, "You killed my family," and then when he was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." Like the true bad guys, they've killed so many or done so many bad things, they don't care.
Okay,
they don't talk about it, so
but
they don't remember this thing. But
at
I
this
think it's
point, we as the audience, I would have liked. Maybe I don't deserve. Maybe they'll get to it in episode 6. Maybe it'll be the season opener for season 2 or whatever. Like, we knew what this Loki, our Loki, did to be caused a variant. He grabbed the Tesseract when he wasn't supposed to, right? So again, if everybody in the TVA was a variant, they had to obstruct the sacred timeline somehow. That's a lot of goddamn people doing something they weren't preordained to do. Anyways, I just believe they haven't thought it out and written it down. They're flying by the seat of their pants, and to me, it's really showing. So at this point, stick a landing, get somewhere. I don't even care. Like they haven't given me a reason to care. If this, like I said, I think last episode, if all you wanted to do was make sure Loki was alive and not dead after Infinity War, just make it that it was an illusion. And it's clear from when we saw the time people, we've talked about it. Why would they be in the building? Why would they be in an elevator? Why would they have that quick access? Why wouldn't they have guards? Why weren't they doing anything? And then they do the whole trope of, oh, they're just robots and can't move. Ha ha, funny. Never seen anything again. Zero for originality. I said it right from the beginning. When they mock this whole TVA on that 50s thing, it's just showing that this is a, they're going for all the tropes. And that's cool if that's what they're doing. And I'm sure for a lot of viewers, it's new to them. Unfortunately, I'm 47 and I've been inundated with sci-fi and all this genre. So it's not new to me. And maybe I'm being too critical on it for that. But again, there isn't an ounce of originality in this show. And I've been reading Marvel comics for so many years.
Yeah,
so that's like
I've been reading comics for so many years. I know you can do original things. Comics would not still be coming out if they couldn't do original things. And I just feel that, them leaning in, like, was I happy to see old school Loki? Yeah, I was happy to see old school Loki. But again, we're seeing them. There's 2 more episodes. What can they do? And I don't, and at this point, I don't care. Like, when you used to read Thor comics or, back when Loki showed up, it used to mean like, something, you were in for a story, and this, I don't see anything happening. And as much as we have oogled and gooed over Tom Hiddleston's performance, we haven't learned anything about the Loki character, and we haven't learned anything about the Sylvie character. And I think for 4 hours into a series, whether they're going to use Sylvie or not, I think that's a disservice, because like I said, Rob didn't even care to learn what her origin is. That's a problem. That's because you haven't done your job as a show. And I think that's sad, because, with all the richness of the MCU that they have, and again, it's just my opinion, I just feel that they're dropping the ball. So yeah, some people can say, oh, I love Sylvie, I love this, I love that, whatever. That's great. And I'm not saying to people you shouldn't enjoy it, but for me, I want some meat and potatoes on these characters. And now that they've given us 40+ minute episodes, I don't want them anymore, because this clearly shows that maybe 22 minutes was their jam,
Yeah, but maybe how do you get meat and potatoes over 6 episodes? Like, this is the flip side of things. Like, could this show deliver everything you wanted if it was a typical broadcast network television show of 20 to 24 episodes, diving deep into character study? Could it give you and provide you with everything that you're looking for? But yeah, probably, because you have a lot more.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, yes, well, no, but like, look at you. We can take the Flash on TV. You've got a well-versed out character with a lot of history, of backstory, a lot of information comparative to what we've gotten so far in movies, because you're dealing with 7 seasons of a character. You've had a lot more time with that person as opposed to.
Rob, I get what you're saying, but what the hell do we know about Sylvie's character?
But I think
what do we know anything different about Loki? There has been no growth and development in these characters.
But I don't know.
And I think you can do it in 6 hours. And maybe I'll have to go through and look at stuff that I own on box sets that are only short seasons or whatever. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it's been done and it can be done. I just think that, there's so much that could be better written or change scenes so that we do have it, right? And maybe you're right, maybe the next episode will be all exposition or whatever, but then people will be like, oh, it was all exposition, and now we're leading up to
Well, we
when got
had
a
all that, and
conclusion.
look what happened last episode. The exposition was.
But the exposition
ask
didn't
you-
tell us anything.
Let me ask you a
Nor did the
question.
stuff tell us anything in this.
You're like, do you think that you are so tied to the source material that it often skews your ability to enjoy?
Nope.
You don't think
I
so?
just
Okay.
think, to be honest with you, I think that obviously I'm an older viewer and I've grown up watching this. So the stuff that I will forgive from back in the day, because I didn't you didn't know any better. I think you have to grow, and I think that, and I don't want to knock anybody's opinion. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I just think there's different expectations, and you don't get things being better by just not just saying, oh, that's what I expected. That's what I was just expecting. I just wanted to turn my brain off. How cool would it be if you wanted to turn your brain off, you sat down, but the thing was good and it rolled and it was tight, and you're like, wow, that's entertaining and fun and made sense. Oh, and they had some character moments. It can be done. Marvel's done it before, right? It's not a question of especially for this particular one, for the source material, right? I don't know that much about Loki other than all the stuff I've read with Loki as a villain or a character in that's not the main character. We sell the Loki book, but it's not one that I would flip through as my main book. But Loki hasn't had books except for stuff circa maybe the last, John, 5 years, maybe, right? But look at all the other stuff. Look at stuff where Doctor Strange. Look how much information we got in a Doctor Strange 2.5 hour movie, right? What's our hour market for 4 hours of Loki right now? Or 4 episodes of Loki. We got to be close to 2.5 hours, right?
They're about 40 minutes. If you could take out, if the average is, I think, 38 to 40 minutes, you take out all the credits.
Right. So and Doctor Strange, while it's a character that I dig and I read a lot, I didn't know everything about it, but they presented something that was solid, and again, you could say, oh, you can't compare because it's TV and a movie. And I just go back to the writing. I think there's a way to write this stuff and it still be fun, appealing, and also enticing, so that people would say, oh my God, that was great. I want to check out the comic. That's ultimately my goal too. I want people to love this stuff and come into the store and say, wow, that was really good. I don't necessarily want them to go, oh, I just want to crunch popcorn and watch this stuff and never want to find out anything beyond what the television show.
But you are going to have a subset of individuals who are like that. And my son's a perfect example, right? I mean, I've taken him ever since Guardians. I showed him that on video. So whatever came out after Guardians, I've taken him to see every MCU movie. And I've always said, hey, we've been into your store before. I said, let's grab something. And he's like, man, I just don't really want to read. You're just going to have a subset of individuals, kids, adults, teens, whatever, who just want to watch and consume it through their eyeballs, audibly, visually, as opposed to reading it. That's
could be, but I think that's also on the shoulders of the people making it, because I think if it was in a way better, people would want to say, hey, well, that was really cool. I want more of it. Oh, hey, yeah, there's 30 plus years of history in the thing, because your son, he probably plays the video games with superhero characters, right? And I know it's a different age and era and stuff like that, right? But anyways, that's a conversation for a different time. I just wish it did. So
fair enough.
That's me.
Okay, we're gonna carry on. So John, now let's find you unanswered questions of the episode. Now this is your point of the show to ramble on about random things you saw, and I can tell you you're wrong. So what's your unanswered questions? Clearly you already think that
it was
20.
It was that branch. So that branch, because when the branches always stay, then since this variant Loki is hopping around, so anything this variant Loki thinks in his head, wouldn't it cause a branch? Like, you know what I mean? So that I just thought that was weird. I don't really, nothing else really stuck out to me. I don't think. I'm trying to think. Yeah,
What
no, I
about
don't know.
the
That,
reveal
that
of
was
the three Lokis we talked about? The
I got
thought,
one.
yeah.
What happened? What happened? So Sylvie sets off the bomb. You see at the end of episode 2, all the time variant are going crazy because you have all these branches that are hitting the sacred timeline.
Mm.
Episode 3 bypasses because it's just they're hanging out on the train
Yep.
to Busan or whatever,
Mm.
and chatting. And then you kind of, I somewhat expected that they would have picked up, no pun intended, the thread from episode 2 with the timelines, with everything being destroyed practically, and the chaos and anarchy, and it was all resolved. Like,
Was it though? They didn't mention it. So was it resolved, or
no, but that's
are we
well, that's
supposed-
my whole point. Well, you actually saw on the screen that the timeline seemed to be fine until Loki and Sylvie touched, and all of a sudden that branch starts skyrocketing. But what happened to all those other branches at the end of episode 2? And they started freaking out and were jumping in through doors, and Renslayer grabbed her baton and took off. So like they never addressed it. So either that is poor writing, to paraphrase Andre, or there's something else that we're just not aware of. Like, I just think that's a huge gaffe.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge thing to not address in any capacity.
Yeah.
So was it just smoke? I assumed it was just a smoke and mirror plan that makes it look like the timelines are effing up, and then just cleared out the TVA so they could.
Yeah, but nobody was there. The Lokis were gone.
that's such
Why
a
were they
big
freaking
plan,
out?
John.
Going, oh my god, we got to get out of here, and we got to correct the timelines.
Like-
Like for
like,
whose
so that's what
benefit was
this-
that show? Like,
So pretty much, if we see that Loki or Sylvie character, let's say she's 8 years old when she gets, let's say she's 10. How old do we think she is now? Let's say she's 25. So she's been running for 15 years. How many? of
Remember,
those-
Thor and them have a weird lifespan, aren't they? Thousands
no,
of
it-
years old.
Well, either way,
Because when Odin says, "Hey, Thor, you got to pick someone right for you," because the human, their lifespan is so short. Like, we live a much longer time period. Like, it's pick the right match for you. They was basically saying we live for thousands of years and humans live for like 100. So be careful who you mate with or partner up with. So to your point, they haven't really addressed how long or what the
but
growth
either way,
point
she's
is.
been running for a long time. And
Yeah, yeah.
if at a certain point she decides my job is to, or I have a plan,
Mm.
and my plan is to get a whole bunch of time bombs, and then you could assume she takes those little time jumping things. So maybe she has many of those, right? And then I'm gonna make a whole bunch of time splits so that they have to close all of them. So then I can go to the Time Lords. Like that was her big
Timekeepers?
plan.
Maybe
Like-
all the officers went and cleaned it up though.
Yeah,
Like, maybe
but
that
that's
was
it.
the
But,
idea.
but that's a
They
that's
go
a
and
big
fix-
way. That's a big way to get
Mm.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Okay. Any other before we jump to fan theories?
I
'Cause
think my
got
only
a
other
fan
issue
theory.
is is those pruning sticks. Like, how reckless can you be with those pruning sticks? And why does Mobius get instantly pruned and then the two Lokis are getting taken to the Time Lords to be pruned? Like, just do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
I
understand
think
why
they
this
want him to
execution
watch.
stick
Yeah.
is held by all officers. You know what I mean? It seems like too crazy of a weapon.
We don't
for
know
everyone
whether
to have.
it's like a Wizard of Oz thing where there's someone behind a curtain or there's a camera that someone's going to watch. Like, who knows? Or they just want to show it just look really cool. To your point, I think Andre mentioned before, I think we give Marvel a little too much credit as like they have a grand master plan, because Andre and I have spoken before that they went by the seat of their pants for the Infinity Stones. No way that they knew in the beginning when they were doing all this stuff that these are the Infinity Stones. Like, it was like they just threw it in last minute. They're like,
They
it
did not
works."
have a whiteboard that said
Oh,
Tesseract equals this gem.
Yeah, it
this
was kind
equals
of
this
just like
gem.
last minute, because we're like, oh, Cosmic Cube. Like, we all thought like that makes sense for Captain America and the Red Skull. That's what they fight over. And then they just kind of
We want to have this gemstone, but we don't want to be gemstone. Can you make it into the Tesseract?
and
cube?
even the ether, you're like, oh, it's not a crystal. It's like, what the heck is going on? And then it becomes a crystal later. You're like, all right, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
So-
maybe it's TV time constraints that's causing all the issues. Like, maybe they're like, oh man,
No,
I wish we had a movie schedule to
No, I
do
think
all the stuff that maybe Andre wants to see, but they're like, oh, we don't have enough time, so we gotta like
no,
just kind
John.
of bang these out.
I don't think I think that they are doing what is the most important thing for Disney, is to get as many viewers as possible. And that is to make this show to hit all the 4 vectors, because it's what a Marvel movie does or a TV show does. It connects young people, some old people. Like, it's trying to get as many people to watch as possible. It's not going for like a Suicide Squad, which is the far extreme end of violence or whatever. It's like kid friendly, it's family friendly, and you can watch it potentially with children or your spouse. And that's what a Marvel thing is. It's not supposed to be a comic book. It's supposed to be a light, digestible TV show that people will subscribe to Disney Plus. That's what it's all about. That's Disney is now a streaming service. They don't make money in theme parks as much because of COVID. They're not making money, but guess what? Share prices went up when they're like, look at our subscriber base for Disney Plus. It's gone up because of all these Star Wars and Marvel shows. Like, again, The Bad Batch is a show that Andre and I love, but it's a very niche thing. But if that gets someone to subscribe to Disney Plus, $11 a month, that is more than I'm paying for a Disney movie, because I'm going to see 0 Disney movies. I'm not going to cruise. I'm not going to think. All they care about is subscribers, and that's the nature. I have a prediction, and this is fan theories. I have a prediction that we're all going to like Loki more than the Black Widow movie. I think we're going to walk away with the Black Widow movie going,
No, I can't wait for Black Widow.
I'm going to say it right now. I think we're all going to go we think that people are wasted. I know for sure they're going to waste Taskmaster, and I'm going to lose my damn mind. It's like they just had this wonderful character. They just threw that person in there, and then there's like cool fight scenes, and it's over. And I'm just like, Taskmaster is so more interesting, and they're going to just waste him in this movie because they just needed a bad guy. So I'm just sitting there going, this is going to be awful. This it's just going to walk away going, okay, like this movie's just an hour and a half to introduce the next Black Widow, then that's what it is. But I'm going to say that Loki 6 hours is going to be way better than an hour and a half or 2 hours of Black Widow. So let's just mark that down. My hot take. I'm 100%.
Hot take. Sure. Go for it, Steve.
I just like the action sequences are going to be just fine.
Smoke.
Yeah. I like as bad as disjointed at points. And I love the Loki show, disjointed and ridiculous. It's going to be better than Black Widow. Mark this down. So, all right. As we jump to weird fan theories before we run out of time, I just want to mention that boastful Loki, he's holding a wrench. And my God, is that the wrench of the Wrecking Crew? And I cannot wait till they show up.
It's like a wrench with a hammer. It's like a makeshift hammer of something.
Yeah, but I think it's the enchanted wrench of the Wrecking Crew. And I think that's because there's already been word that they're potentially the Wrecking Crew is going to show up in the MCU. So if that's the case,
they're going to get their own. They're going to get their own show.
I just want the Wrecking Crew to show up because they're so ridiculous and goofy for convicts. And again, I'm sure when this came up with, it's a bad writing idea. It's like if we sat there and be like, okay, we're going to have our storybook idea is that we're going to find 4 prisoners who break out of jail and find an enchanted wrench. We'd be like, that's stupid, but that's canon. So I'm excited to see that. Anyone else got some weird fan theories they got?
A couple of things.
Yep.
One is that that end scene when you can find the screenshot online. Yep. That is New York.
Yep.
That is Avengers Tower.
Yep.
That has all been decimated. That's so those other locais, including Richard Grant, it's a New York. It's an area of New York. Also, number 2 is that I saw. So apparently, people are saying that Renslayer is tied to King the Conqueror.
That's correct.
Now, apparently, in her flashback, her outfit had an A23. That was her designation number. And A23 is Avengers 23. That was her first appearance as Kang's love interest way back. So a lot of people are assuming that designation number meant that's who she is. So that's a kind of neat little Easter egg on that.
I'm just waiting to see Jonathan Majors show up at the very end of this episode via Thanos. Just turns around and be like with a smoking pipe going ha ha, and then that's what's gonna happen.
Well, he's got lots of time in his hands. No Love Country season 2. So
I saw the tweet about so very upsetting. About they had a picture of the United States and showing off like what would happen on season 2, and I'm like, womp womp.
Yeah. So
John, any other weird?
I predicted that red door punishment door with Lady Civ is going to come into play. They're either going to recruit her from that door, or they went to hide there or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like that was too short of a cameo, so maybe they'll bring her back.
Oh, wait, do you also think what's Thor's mom? Wasn't she supposed to be some type of a but didn't she come from a land of enchantresses? Didn't she say that in Thor 1
she's a witch. She's like, "Oh, I've grown up in witches. You don't think like you could fool
Yeah,
a witch.
I don't
He
know.
said that-
I wonder if that's going to come into play later on.
Anyone else got anything before we wrap it up?
Jet skis. Do we predict a jet ski in the next episode or two?
Final? No. I think they're gonna hold out, especially if there's a season 2.
Season 2. They're gonna hold out.
Last quick question, of course, before we go. Mephisto. Are we gonna any Mephisto watch? Are we gonna get this? Is this gonna
No,
happen?
get out of town. They're crazy.
You know what? He's going to pop in one day and we're all going to be like, holy shit. And then somebody's gonna be like, called it. I knew he'd be showing up in a Disney show. But yeah, I don't think.
I hope he's played by Walter Goggins because he's got the hair.
Walter Goggins as Mephisto.
he already is in the MCU,
And I hope he
John.
plays it like Boyd
he was-
Crowder. And he's
No, you want Dewey Crowder as Mephisto. That's what you want.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you want Boyd going to him and going to hell. I did like when Loki was like, "Am I in hell?" It's like the Asgardian hell, and it's a thing. So, yeah, I think we have 2 more to go, to the dismay of Andre and the excitement of us, and we'll see how this leads to season 2, because clearly things are happening, and there is that one scene where Loki's with all those people and he turns around, because that's the only scene from all the trailers that hasn't been shown yet. So
No, I haven't even seen that.
it's coming out. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching, hearing our thoughts and hearing our opinions. I appreciate it. If you can, please like, subscribe, let us know your fan theories below. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. John and Rob will always connect and give you comment and let you know their thoughts. So please do on the various social channels. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you next week. Bye, everyone.
okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Stu.
Bye.